So there's a lot of discourse happening on here, what it is to be like a true leftist. You know, people that are saying like, oh, Zoran's the worst, it's a plant. If you believe he's like anything good, you're delusional. And then like AOC's the worst, blah, blah, blah. That type of discourse. And I think most people partaking in that discourse are delusional. And also many are like self-indulgent. And I'll explain why. Because I think history does not bend towards justice. And that's what a lot of people in these camps want to believe that it does. And they want to like will this thing that's not true into existence. They want to will it to be true. But the reality is it bends towards power. That's what history tells us. And truly what history says and what our current political climate says is that our political reality is structured by elite dominance. And now Trump is an example of this. He represents and is a result of a populist movement. A movement that if you ask them, they would claim to be going against, like said, elite control. But has it happened? Has the elite been toppled? Has it been gone against? And will that happen in the future? Probably not. Because any mass movement with mass organization, no matter how radical in appearance, will eventually be governed by elites. So the fantasy of like populist revolt often ends in reactionary authoritarianism or layers of stagnation disguised as change. So Trump, a perfect example again, it's delusional to think it bends towards justice. We need to accept, I think, some level of political realism. So if power always becomes centralized into elite networks, then the hope for revolution from below, from like the average person, is misguided unless it is paired with strategic organization, kind of like elite level capture, right? And I'm not trying to give like some nihilistic take either. I'm trying to reframe the convo a bit. And modern groupings of elites have thrived because they've learned how to manage populist energies while maintaining elite control through networks of surveillance, propaganda, and corruption. So my point isn't to abandon the people, and join the elites, just accept defeat, blah, blah, blah. It's the opposite, really. What we need to understand, what our current moment says about power and what history says, is that liberation, if it is possible, will not come from some symbolic explosions of protest. They play a part maybe in recognition, but for change and lasting change, that will require a new elite. And that comes from clarity of purpose, structural understandings of how things currently operate, of power, and also constant action. That also requires some level of experimentation in that action. So,